Hey pals, this is Wendy with Love and Stampin', and I'm so excited that you're here with me today. So I just have to tell you, I just got back from Disneyland and I had the best time, and I think I'm gonna start calling you guys pals instead of friends because it's just so cute. And look at my fun nails. Oh, I got some stuff on this one. They're getting a little worse for the wear at this point, but I've been learning how to do stamping and they're fun. Anyway, let's get started on today's video. We are talking about fantastic rulers. Now, I want to take you back in time a little ways and show you my first T-square ruler. This T-square ruler was from Amazon and it works great. It's very inexpensive, but it doesn't have all the benefits that these have, and I'm going to get into that and show you. So, if you want a ruler from Amazon and you need a T-square ruler and you've never had one, this is an option. I'm going to show you why it's a little bit frustrating. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't want you to watch this video and think if I don't have the money to purchase these T-square rulers, I shouldn't get one. This one I think is $4 or $5. You can pick it up on Amazon. I will link to it below the video, and it's a great option, but it is a little bit limiting. So we're gonna talk about that in a minute. These are from My Sweet Petunia, the same creator of the MISTI and the Precision Glue Press. Okay, so Ileana came up with these amazing T-square rulers, and they are so smart. They come two in a package. One comes one is just metric and one is metric and imperial. So if you need the metric or want both, because I know some people do designing for teams or different things where they need both measurements, these rulers are a great option. Again, they come two per pack. Now, let me just say, you don't always need to use the measurements on them. There's things we're going to use these for. The measurements don't even matter. You're just using them for placement. So having two in your craft room is always beneficial, because just like my scissors, these will go for walks and vacations without me knowing about it. They don't check in, they don't say they're leaving. And so I'm glad I have two so that there's always a backup. Okay, so we are going to use the imperial one and for this video, and we are going to just talk about some of the awesome benefits. So the major difference between this T-square ruler and this one is that this one lays flat. Now, if you're new to card making, having one of these is going to help you a lot. If you're a seasoned card maker, you already know how much these help you, but I want to explain the difference between these two before we go further. Okay, this one lays flat, this one doesn't. So underneath here, you will see that there is like a beveled edge. And it actually makes it so that the ruler is pushed away from this edge. So when you lay it down on your cardstock, there's a gap right here. Okay, so let me see if I can show you. See that? I can stick this underneath there. Why would this be a problem? I'll show you why. If you were to take a pencil and use this to draw a line, it makes it a little bit harder to get a straight line. If you can see right here, it goes up just a tiny bit. So you have this kind of offset line. Also, the other thing that I have noticed that makes it difficult is if you're taking a piece of paper and you're wanting to like line it up, sometimes what will happen is, see how the ruler here goes over the edge of the paper on this end? So it's like you're having to really closely pay attention and make sure that the paper is square, okay? There's other things too, like when you're lining up stamps and stuff like that. And another thing is, this won't fit in the MISTI. Yes, I said fit in the MISTI. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so when you use one of the T-square rulers from My Sweet Petunia, it lays completely flat to the surface of the cardstock. There is no gapping. So when you go to do a straight line, you're getting a straight line. The other thing that is fantastic about this ruler that this one does not have is there is a built-in metal shim right here. So if you're going to use your ruler for things like Let me show you. Let me show you. Go grab my right tool. Thought I had it on my desk. If you're going to use it for things, oh, here it is. This is the one I wanted to use. This is from Altenew. For things like cutting cardstocks, you've got this metal piece that you're cutting up against. And I didn't cut through because this is not self-healing. But basically, you don't risk shaving off your ruler. If I use this one, it will actually kind of catch in that plastic and shave it off. The other thing is I can't go from here because again, it gaps. So it makes it really hard to get that nice straight line. Okay, so I wanted to show you those two things for sure. The fact that this lays flat and the fact that you can cut up against it very, very well. It has the metal edge. The other thing that is really cool about this is it has a 0 point, a center point, okay? So from this piece of cardstock is cut at 5.5, okay? So if I line my edge up from here to here, I get to 5.5. So if you look at these numbers here, let me zoom in. Okay, that's as close as I can get. So if you look from 0 to 5.5, or sorry, yeah, from 0 to 5.5, that's how you measure, okay? And you're measuring on this top line right here. This 0 right here, okay, is your center point from 5.5. So for example, now I've done confused myself. Oh, I know, okay. So for example, if I move my cardstock to the 1/2 inch mark, and now, no, not my cardstock. I got a little flustered. Okay, so I personally know that 2 3/4 is half of 5.5. So you can find your center because you're going from 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So to find the center, I just did this the other day. You're going to, yep, that's right. Line up here, and then you can mark your center, okay? So I've marked at the 0. So what I did is I measured from, because I'm measuring this way, so I'm measuring 1, 2, 1, 2, 3/4. So, and there's little black marks here. We'll get into those. So now I know this is my center. So if I were to take this now, well, I don't even have to take it. Lined up at the 0, I can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And now I know it's 2 3/4. So this 0 marker is my center on this. Does that make sense? So if you struggle to figure out the center of something, let's say it's 4 1/4, and you're not sure what half of that is, and you just have to do the math on that. So 1/2 of a quarter is 1/8. So if we're doing, let's do a line, 4 1/4. That's a little bit longer than 4 1/4, but that works. Okay, then we want to find the center of that, and I know it's 2 1/8. So I can go from the 0 mark, 1, 2, and 1/8. And now I know I'm at the center, and I can make my mark. So that just comes in handy for lots of different things. The other thing that this comes in really handy for, because it has this grid, which the other ruler doesn't, is let's say I wanted to draw repeating lines on something, okay? So I'm just gonna grab a marker. This is a Copic marker, G07. I'm gonna use the chisel tip. Let's say I wanted to make a cool background. I can take my marker, draw my line, and then I can move up or down. It depends on what you wanna do, but I'm gonna move up so that this second grid line right here is on the top of my green line. And then I'm going to draw another line. And then I'm going to move up So again, that line is on the top of this green line. I'm going to draw a line. And you can see they're perfectly spaced, and I can just keep doing that. So that is something that's really cool with this grid as well, is that you're able to make patterns, and I can obviously go do the same thing in this direction. So if I were to go here, and let's see, let's make it nice and even at the top line and draw down and repeat that. You can see what I'm saying. And then I can just keep going. And then I have this really cool checker pattern. So it's just something fun to do if you have like limited supplies, or if you're just looking for something fun and different to do. So let's talk about the black marks really quick. So this black mark is 1/4 of an inch. So that's 1/4, half, 3/4, 1. 1/4, half, 3/4, 1. So within 1 inch, you have 2 black spaces and 2 clear spaces. If you go down here, you're going 1/8. Okay, so this is 1, 2. This is the 3/8 mark. 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. So it's repeating, right? And then if you go down lower, it's a 1/16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these black marks just make it easier to line things up. And same with the top. All this applies to the top as well. Okay. Now, here is the favorite thing about these. And I have not done this yet because I just learned about it. So we're going to do it today. Let me zoom back out. I learned that your T-square ruler will fit in your MISTI. And you can still close the door and stamp. Is that not amazing? So let's remove this grid sticky mat and put it in there, and then we close it. The only thing you can't do with this ruler is you cannot put it where there's a hinge. Okay, so I don't think that that's that big of a deal, but you can literally put it anywhere else. You could put it up at the top, act as a corner guide if you needed it to. You can, I think you can even put it this way. Nope, can't do that. Can't put it that way. You could put it down at the bottom. And obviously you can put it anywhere going this way as long as it doesn't hit a hinge. Okay, so let's make a card, and we're going to start by stamping the sentiment on a piece of cardstock. I am going to use A4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock. I am going to place this, because we're going to use our ruler, okay? So I'm going to place this here. And let's say I want my sentiment, let's see, we're going to use this stuff, okay? So I'm going to want my sentiment kind of down at the bottom, because I haven't decided yet, but I'm thinking I might use this cage and stuff like that. So we're going to make these lovebirds just because they're so cute. And I got this set and I haven't used it or played with it yet, and I want to use this. So I'll always be by your side. Love is in the air. These are like weddings. Some of them are wedding. You make my heart sing. Some birdie loves you. Together is a beautiful place to be. Sending you love. I think we'll do sending you love, because that can go for lots and lots of occasions. Okay. So I'm going to pull that one out. Sending you love. And I want it right here. But I don't really know if that's lined up perfectly, right? So what I can do is I can take my T-square ruler, butt it up against the edge of here, so I know now that this is completely square. I can't cover the hinge, so what I'm actually going to do is move the sentiment down a little. And now the sentiment is touching the T-square ruler. And I have made it so that the two little pieces, the G and the Y, are hanging down and touching right up against the T-square ruler so that I know my placement is just perfect. Now the other thing I can do is I can measure. We were talking earlier, now I'm realizing that my cardstock is over here a little, so I'm going to push this cardstock out just a little bit. I'm going to have to use, I don't want to get for heaven's sakes, I don't want to get my nail polish on this cardstock, so I'm going to use scissors to lift that up. And I'm going to bump this out. All right, so now I'm going to make sure that this piece of cardstock is bumped up against the ruler right here. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm actually going to measure to make sure this sentiment is in the center of this cardstock. Now, usually I'm not quite that serious about I'm just doing it for you guys, basically. So I know this is 4 inches wide. I know 2 inches is the center. So if I measure the sentiment, let's measure it the other way. It is 2, I need to do it up here on white. I'm trying to read black on black. So it is approximately, I have to see, it's about 2.5 inches. So 1 1/4 would be half of that. So if I go look for the 1 1/4, that's here. So, and we know the center of this is 2. So we can put this back here. So we want, okay. So the center is 2. So we want this, so the center of this is 1 1/4. So if we pull this to, there's 2 inches, there's 3 1/4. So the S should be about at the 3 1/4 mark. And if you're following me still at this point, God love you, because it is a little confusing, but I'm just telling you this is how you can use this. So now check this out. I've got my paper lined up. I have my center, my sentiment perfectly centered. I have it straight because I'm using the T-square ruler, and I can shut this on top and pick this up. And now I can just totally remove my ruler and I can stamp my sentiment. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Hero Arts Intensified Black ink. And look at that. Absolutely perfect placement. So if you're somebody who struggles with getting your sentiments straight, getting them centered, any of those things, this is your answer. So let's finish making this fun card. Now, I have linked below to these T-square rulers. If you want to pick these up and use my link to do that, I would really appreciate it. And we're going to get busy making the rest of this card with all these fun bits and pieces. Okay, friends, I die cut all of these little birdie pieces to these lovely layers, Lovebirds dies, and I am ink blending them with Twisted Citron, Squeezed Lemonade, Mowed Lawn, and Rustic Wilderness. I had to think of them all. And then I'm just using my Altenew tweezers and my precision glue press to glue them all together and layer them all together. Oh, and that the pink on the top of them is picked raspberry. No. Yeah, that's it. And I'm just layering all these little pieces on. And then I am going to assemble everything. This card was super simple and came together really, really simple once I did all the die cutting and ink blending. This little sticky mat I'm using here is the Altenew Low Tack Sticky Mat. And I die cut the bird swing from basic black cardstock. And I do have to tell you that this card was partially inspired by Disneyland because, as you know, I recently went to Disneyland and we went to the Tiki Room not once, but twice, where all the little birds sing and they hang from these cute little swings, and I think I'm gonna send this to my cousin who I went to Disneyland with, because she got back from Disneyland and kind of got hit with life stuff, and it's been a little rough. So I think I'm gonna send this card to her, and hopefully she will also look at it and think of the tiki room and our time there sharing a Dole Whip together. And then I just want to comment and say, how much do you love birds? Okay, so let me clarify. I don't like birds. In real life, birds terrify me. I have this fear of them like flying in my hair and like getting stuck. And birds are just not an animal that I have ever felt comfortable or confident around. Let's put it that way. So, that being said, I love to watch birds. I think birds are beautiful. And I didn't used to. When I was a kid, of course, I didn't like to watch birds, because does anybody when they're a kid? I don't know. Maybe there are people who do. But the older I've gotten, the more I've enjoyed the smaller, littler things in life. I think as we age, we start to appreciate the beauty that surrounds us more, and we take time to slow down and really see it. So birds is one of the things that I just really enjoy watching. I actually have a hummingbird feeder hung right in front of my office window so that I can watch the hummingbirds. And I just find that they're a beautiful creature to watch. And in addition to that, I now love growing flowers. I love cutting flowers for bouquets in the house. I'm officially my grandmother, is basically what has happened. I bake, I cook, I watch birds, and I grow flowers. So welcome to the 40s. Here I'm just adding some black sequins. I couldn't tell you if you bet me $1 million, I couldn't tell you where these sequins came from. Probably from a little craft store somewhere. They're just black sequins that I have in my stash. And I thought I would add them to this card just to give it a little bit more interest, because I didn't do any ink blending in the background. Originally, I was going to do ink blending in the background of this card, and then I don't know, I just couldn't decide what I wanted to do, so I left it. And I actually really love how it turned out. I am a clean and simple card maker at heart. I like clean and simple cards. Even if it's a fun fold, it's clean and simple. So this is the finished card. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me, you can drop them in the comments below. You can shop with me for Stampin' Up! Products at shoploveandstampin.com. All the other products I used today are listed on my blog. There are links below the video for all of that information. I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.